Champions League predictions are back. Hello guys, welcome back to yet another video. As I say, it's the second week of the new Champions League phase, and there is some big games to predict this week, including Aston Villa versus Bayern Munich, Arsenal versus PSG, and many more. Before we get into the predictions, guys, do take 2 seconds to help us hit 2,000 likes. I don't think we did it last time, but we're getting great views, so just take 2 seconds to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe as well for more football content. And I'm going to be very busy over the next 24 hours as I've got to do midweek League One predictions with Benjamin Bloom and midweek Championship predictions with Sophie. So look out for those 2 videos tomorrow. But for now, let's get into the Champions League predictions for midweek. I was wrong in saying there's 32 teams in the competition last time. There's 36. So there's 18 games to get into. And let's start with this one. We have RB Salzburg versus Brest. Now, last time RB Salzburg lost 3-0 to Sparta Prague away from home, which has put them 32nd in this new league table. Bear in mind, there's only been 1 game. On the other hand, Brest did get a win. They beat Sturm Graz 2-1, and that's put them up to 13th in the table. There's plenty of quality on display here. You've got Yeo and Bidstrup for RB Salzburg, and of course you've got the likes of Magnetti and Sima for Brest. Now, if you're going to base it on the previous results, you would think Brest might win this, but I think RB Salzburg are going to win with the home advantage here. I'm going to kick things off with a 2-1 win to RB Salzburg. That's my prediction for this one. I think it could be a close game. They're both going to want it, but I'm going for the home team to win. Share your predictions down in the comments. The next game is Stuttgart versus Sparta Prague. Now, we said that Sparta Prague were the team that just beat RB Salzburg. They beat them 3-0. Now they are going away to Stuttgart, who lost 3-1 to Real Madrid. Now, Stuttgart have some dangerous players in the likes of Undav, and they have the home advantage here. And I thought they played quite well against Real Madrid, but I was very impressed by Sparta Prague's performance against RB Salzburg, and with the likes of Birmancevic and Olatunji, I reckon they might win again. I'm thinking of going for another 2-1 prediction. So let's go Stuttgart 1, Sparta Prague 2. I'm going to go for Sparta Prague. As I say, I was very impressed with their performance in the first game, and I think they've got a very good chance of getting through this league phase into the knockout stages after this. But at the same time, I will say I would not be entirely surprised if Stuttgart get a result, but I'm going 2-1 to Sparta Prague. Next up then, we go to the Emirates. It's Arsenal versus PSG. This will be an interesting one. PSG, obviously the best French team. They're a fantastic force, but I don't think that PSG have ever delivered massively on the European stage, and I do think Arsenal have got to be made the favourites here. Now, last time for Arsenal, it was a 0-0 draw away at Atalanta, and they could have lost. I didn't think they were at their best. David Raya made an incredible penalty save, and then he saved the rebound as well. And it's a big season for Arsenal. There is a lot of expectation for them to do something. Now, I personally think it'd be great to see them winning either the Premier League or the Champions League. And a question to you guys, which one is more realistic? Because I think they've got a chance at both. They've never won the Champions League before, so if you're an Arsenal fan, would you rather win this? PSG, of course, have the likes of Dembele, Barcelona. Arsenal, of course, have so many incredible players with the likes of Saka, Raya, Trossard as well. I'm going to go for more goals here. I'm going to say Arsenal 3, PSG 1. I really like what Arsenal are about, and I did predict them before the season started to win the Premier League. We'll see how that goes. It's so competitive this season, but I also think they're going to get far in the Champions League. Share your thoughts on Arsenal versus PSG. Next up then, and we have Barcelona versus Young Boys. Now, both of these teams lost their first game in the Champions League. Young Boys were beaten 3-0 at home by Aston Villa, and Barcelona lost 2-1, of course, to Monaco. Now, they were down to 10 men. I think it was Garcia got a red card, so do take that with a pinch of salt. Barcelona have so many great players like Yamal and Lewandowski, but of course we need to highlight that Young Boys have the likes of Jambula, but if they play anything like they did against Aston Villa, then Barcelona will rip them to pieces. Let's go Barcelona 3, Young Boys 0. I just think this is a home win, and I can't see anything else. Share your thoughts on that one. I feel pretty certain that Barcelona will win. Next up then, and we've got Bayer Leverkusen versus AC Milan. Now here is a question to the viewers. Can Bayer Leverkusen win the Champions League? Because they won the Bundesliga last season. They're incredibly strong with Xabi Alonso, and they are now third in the league table here after winning 4-0 against Feyenoord away from home. And I thought that game would be close. I think I did back Bayer Leverkusen to win, but I didn't think it would be 4-0. I think they're going to win again here with the likes of Florian Wirtz and Grimaldo. I think they've got just too much quality here. AC Milan do have the likes of Pulisic, who I believe scored against Liverpool, but they lost 3-1, which has left them 29th in the table after one game. I'm going to go for a few more goals here. Let's go Bayer Leverkusen 3, AC Milan 1. That is my prediction here, and I really do think they will get far by Leverkusen. I've been so impressed with them over the last 12 months. As for AC Milan, I think they might score, but I don't see them getting a result. 3-1. Next up then, and we have Borussia Dortmund versus Celtic. It's 5th versus 2nd in the league table, and we've got to give so much credit to these two. Borussia Dortmund won 3-0 away at Club Brugge, whereas Celtic smashed Slovan Bratislava 5-1. Now I did predict both teams to win these games, but I didn't think Celtic would win by so many goals, so fair play to them. But it's so difficult, this. If they can get out of here with a draw, I think Celtic fans realistically would know that is a very, very good result. I'm not saying it's impossible that they might win, but I am leaning towards Borussia Dortmund. Now, we've highlighted the quality that these two have. Borussia Dortmund with Gittens and Brandt. On the other hand, Celtic have Ida, Maeda, Kyogo. Let's go with Celtic to make it a close game, but I just can't see past Dortmund at home. Borussia Dortmund 2, Celtic 1, which would still be a decent start for Celtic after 2 games, and a brilliant start for Borussia Dortmund, 2 wins from 2 games. I'm going for Dortmund to win this one. Next up then, and we have Inter Milan versus Red Star Belgrade. Now this will be an interesting one because Inter Milan drew 0-0 with Manchester City, which is a very, very good result. Not many teams go to Manchester City and get a result. I mean, I know Arsenal did, but Arsenal are also on another level. And they take on Red Star Belgrade, who lost 2-1 to Benfica. Milson is a dangerous player to look out for. On the other hand, Inter Milan have the likes of Sommer and Thuram. Let's go with the home win. Inter Milan 2, Red Star Belgrade 0 is my prediction here. Just like I say, very impressed with the defensive work from Inter Milan in that first game. So I think they're going to win this time. 2-0 to Inter. Next up then, and we have PSV versus Sporting Club Portugal. I know I called them Sporting Lisbon last time, but I got told off for that. What a good start for them. I did predict them to beat Lille. I think I said 2-1, but they won 2-0. And of course, Victor Gyökeres got a goal. I would not be surprised if he's up there with some of the top scorers in the competition this year. I'm going to back him to score again. I know they've also got some other good players like with Debas as well. On the other hand, PSV, decent team. They did lose 3-1 to Juventus in their first game. They've also got a couple of decent players like Sabari as well. Let's go then 1-1. Like I said though, I think Victor Gyökeres will get Sporting's goal, but I'm going to go for a draw here. Share your thoughts on that one. Next up then, and we have Slovan Bratislava versus Manchester City, and this could be a cricket score because Slovan Bratislava, they conceded 5 goals to Celtic, and now they're taking on Manchester City, the English champions and the Champions League winners over a year ago now. I think this will be one-way traffic. Slovan Bratislava, okay, they've got a couple of decent players. Vima is all right, but like I say, losing 5-1 to Celtic is one of the worst possible starts you could have had. Manchester City, on the other hand, they didn't win either. They only drew 0-0 with Inter Milan, which leaves them 19th in the league table, but they need to bounce back, and I think they will. Like we said, with the likes of Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne, just too much quality. I'm going to predict 4-0 to Manchester City, but ultimately I was tempted to go 5 or 6, but maybe once Man City are comfortable at 3-0, they'll maybe take off some of the superstars and just not risk any injuries. As we said recently, they've lost Rodri to injury, so they can't do with any more of that. I'm going to go 4-0 to Man City. Next up, and it's Girona versus Feyenoord. They both lost their opening games. Girona lost 1-0 to PSG. I thought they played okay, and you know, they'll fancy their chances to get a result here because Feyenoord lost 4-0 at home to Bayer Leverkusen. Both got decent players. Girona got Stuani and Van der Beek. Feyenoord, of course, have got Milambo and Jimenez. I think I'm going to say low scoring, especially after they both didn't score last time. I'll go 1-0 to Girona. I'm going to back Girona to win this one. Just based on the first games, I think Girona were more competitive and Feyenoord were really not very good. 1-0 to Girona. Share your predictions on that one as well. The next game is Shakhtar Donetsk versus Atalanta. Now, both teams drew their opening game 0-0. Atalanta drew 0-0 at home to Arsenal. I was very encouraged by what I saw. I thought they really could have won that game. Like we said, they missed a penalty and the rebound. Raya played really well for Arsenal. They've got great players in Lookman, Zaniolo and Zappacosta, so they will come here fancying their chances. But Shakhtar, they got a 0-0 away to Bologna, and of course they've got players like Sikan and Zubkov as well, and they now have the home advantage, and Shakhtar Donetsk, do not underestimate them. I'm going to go for another draw, 1-1. I do think both teams are really going to go for it because they both want that first win, but I think it might be a draw. They might just cancel each other out and there'd be 2 games unbeaten, which is still something. Share your thoughts. Next up then, and we go to Villa Park, where it is Aston Villa versus Bayern Munich. And this is what I'm talking about. When Aston Villa qualified for the Champions League, we were all looking forward to nights like this at Villa Park. Bayern Munich, one of the best teams in Europe, are visiting, and I think it'll be a really good game. It's incredible to think how far Aston Villa have come in the space of 5 very short years. Yes, they are a massive club and they shouldn't have been in the Championship to start off with, but credit to Dean Smith for getting them back, and then credit to Unai Emery for getting them to the Champions League, where of course they won this competition in 1982. Now, they got off to a great start, winning 3-0 away at Young Boys. They're doing really well in the Premier League as well, and they've just got so much quality in the likes of Tielemans, Ramsey and Onana, who are the 3 players that scored at Young Boys. You've of course got Duran and Watkins as well. Bayern Munich, though, they are flying, and they are top of the league table in the Champions League after winning 9-2 in their opening game against Dinamo Zagreb. Now, of course, Bayern Munich have the likes of Gnabry, Kane, Sane, Elise. They are so powerful, and I think they probably will be the favourites here, but we've seen in the last 12 months that Aston Villa at Villa Park can take points off Arsenal and Manchester City, and I see no reason why they can't give Bayern Munich a good game. My head is telling me Bayern Munich should win, but I cannot underestimate Aston Villa. They are going to be so up for it, and the fans are going to be making some of the best noise they've made at Villa Park for years. 2-2. I'm going to go for a Desmond. I just think they're both great teams, and considering they both won their first game, a draw is not a bad result for either. I'm going Aston Villa 2, Bayern Munich 2. Share your thoughts on that one down in the comments. I'm excited for that one. Next up, we have Benfica versus Atlético Madrid. Now, they both won their opening games 2-1. Benfica won 2-1 away at Red Star Belgrade. They've got so many great players like Aktoglu and Koku, who are the 2 players who scored in that game against Red Star Belgrade. Of course, Atlético Madrid have the likes of Griezmann, Jimenez, and they just won 2-1 against RB Leipzig. I think Atletico Madrid are the favourites, but Benfica do have the home advantage, and I'm going to go for another draw, 1-1. Share your thoughts, guys. I feel like a lot of these games are going to be really close. I don't think I'm going to get every prediction right, but maybe there will be a few draws, and I think this might be one of them. Now, next up, it's Dinamo Zagreb versus Monaco. Now, Monaco, they won their opening game 2-1 against Barcelona, and I think they've got to come into this as favourites. As we said, Dinamo Zagreb lost 9-2 to Bayern Munich, which puts them bottom of the table in 36th place. They really need a reaction, but they looked so poor defensively that I'm going to go for Monaco, and I'm going to go 3-1 to the away team. Look, Dinamo Zagreb are a good team, and yes, they were playing a very good team in Bayern Munich, but I also think Monaco are another good team, and they're going to beat them. The next game is Lille versus Real Madrid. Now, Lille, we mentioned, they lost 2-0 away to Sporting, whereas Real Madrid, they beat Stuttgart 3-1, and with the likes of Vinicius, Mbappe and Rodrigo, they're just so strong, and Bellingham, how could I forget him? I think they're going to win again. Lille, as we said, they've got a couple of decent players in the likes of Zagreb and Jonathan David, but they're playing the Champions League winners from last year, and I think Real Madrid will win quite easy. Lille 0, Real Madrid 2. And once again, you've got to consider Real Madrid as one of the favourites to go all the way and win the competition. I just think they're so strong and so well managed, so I'm backing them to win again. Next, we go to Anfield as Liverpool take on Bologna. Now, Liverpool, as we've said before, they've pulled out some great results in this start to the season with Arne Slot, and one of them was winning 3-1 away at AC Milan. So that puts them 7th in the table. They take on Bologna, who are 20th, after drawing 0-0 with Shakhtar Donetsk in the opening game. Of course, they've got Orsolini, they've got Castro. They're not a bad team, but I just think Liverpool, if they're on it and they're switched on, they're too powerful with the likes of Virgil van Dijk, Jota, Diaz, Salah. You can't not go for Liverpool, and Nunes. Let's go Liverpool 3-0. I really do fancy Liverpool to go quite far in the Champions League. You know, you can't forget Liverpool are the most successful English club when it comes to European competitions, and I would be very surprised if they don't at least get to the quarters and probably the semis as well. Liverpool fans, do share your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know how far you think you will get in the Champions League this season. 2 games left. The next one is RB Leipzig versus Juventus. Now, Juventus, a really good 3-1 win against PSV on the opening day of the Champions League with the likes of Gonzalez, McKennie, Yildiz. They've got a lot of quality, Juventus, and they're currently 8th in this table. They take on RB Leipzig, who are 22nd. They lost 2-1 to Atlético Madrid away from home. Do you know what? I would not be surprised if RB Leipzig do get a result. Sesko, Openda, they've got some really good players there. But I'm going to go RB Leipzig 0, Juventus 1, and lots of quality. And I do think they're going to make it 2 wins from 2. The final game then is Sturm Graz versus Club Brugge. Sturm Graz 24th after losing 2-1 to Brest in their opening game. But Club Brugge 31st after losing 3-0 at home to Borrusia Dortmund. Now, this is a difficult one to predict. I think they both have to win this because there's much harder games coming, and this is really winnable for both. Now, I think I'm going to make Sturm Graz slight favourites here. They've got Fernandes, they've got Jata. Of course, Club Brugge have Nilsson and Olsen. Let's go for a low-scoring game. Sturm Graz 1, Club Brugge 0. I'm going to back Sturm Graz to win. As I say, it's a massive game. They both have to win. You know, there's some games in this competition in the league phase where teams do really need to take advantage if they're going to get through to the knockout stages, and I do think this is one of them. And with that, that wraps up the predictions for round 2 of the Champions League. So then, guys, as I say, do share your Champions League predictions down in the comments. I think there's some really good games. As I say, I'm looking forward to Arsenal PSG, Aston Villa versus Bayern Munich, Liverpool v Bologna. There's some really good games. Borussia Dortmund versus Celtic. Get your predictions down in the comments. I will leave the fixtures in the description if you want to copy and paste. Make sure as well to get involved by hitting the like button. It really helps the videos. So if you enjoy what you see, take 2 seconds to like and make sure to subscribe. As you can see, we are trying to push for 78,000 subscribers now. So get involved, and once again, a massive thank you for your support. Do look out for Championship predictions with Sophie tomorrow afternoon and League One predictions with Benjamin Bloom tomorrow as well, as we've got loads of games coming up in midweek. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Peace out.